Hello everyone and welcome back to Teach Astronomy. My name's Victoria, but you can call me Vicky, but today you can call me Kai because today is Friday, which means we've got some more D&D in space for you guys. Episode 11. We are well into double digits, which is exciting. Last week was a weird episode, a weird fun little thing, but today we are back to our current adventure. If you're interested in watching that weird little episode, it is on Twitch. It will be on the YouTube within the day. Just trying to fix some things on that upload, and then you guys can learn about our backstories. But as far as updating us with the current mission and what we do here, I will pass it off to our Game Master, Grant.
All right, how's it going, everybody? So far in this little adventure we've been on, our away team here has been deployed to check out a distress signal from an abandoned coalition of Alloc outposts on a water world. They landed, found it completely abandoned, discovered that they were infected with some sort of contagion, or at least 2 out of the 3 of you are, and also met a semi-friendly robot that now believes you are currently members of the coalition of Alloc, due to a very poor roll on the robot's part. Beyond that, you have determined that the best place to go to start finding more answers as to what to do next is the depth facility, somewhere deep down in the darkness of the ocean. It's about an hour away, and you just left in a alien submarine that you just repaired. No thanks to a shark that also tried to eat you at some point. And yeah, that's more or less where we're going to be picking up. We did, of course, have the backstory session last week, and that's kind of maybe floating around your characters' minds as you're floating through the water here, on your way. Kai, you are, of course, in the pilot seat, controlling the sub's motion. Where are Leaf and the Doc going to be?
So I am probably going to be sitting at a console trying to monitor the, again, look for biosigns.
And I will be sitting at, I assume, the other console.
Okay. I will say the cockpit has one engineering/utility console that you can use, so one of you can be at that. The only other place where you might have computer access is going to be in a utility room on the lower deck, where you control the claw arm system of the submarine. So that's the other place where you would have computer access. So
I
one
can't
of you.
decide whether that's the perfect place for Leaf or the perfectly wrong place for Leaf.
I mean, there are plenty of buttons to press.
I'll take the claw.
Okay, so Leaf's downstairs. You figured out the intercom to get a hold of Leaf whenever you want to, so you don't have to necessarily worry about that. And yeah, you are in the process of piloting the sub, and it's been a little over 2.5 hours since you first landed. So what thoughts are currently going through your characters' heads? Currently, Leaf, Kai, you're both feeling a little ill around the edges. You feel like you've got a cold coming on right now. So you're aware that whatever is going on here is starting to take a toll. You just don't know exactly what else is going on.
We still don't fully understand the source of this.
No.
This
Not
illness,
yet.
right? I mean, we haven't
All
been
you
able to
know-
access their databases.
All you know from the logs you were able to recover is that they discovered it somewhere on world, and it was part of some sort of excavation that they were doing. Most of the planet's wildlife appear to be immune, or at least have adapted to it, so they're not having any kind of issues like you guys are. So that's pretty much all you know. The depth facility is where the majority of the power is flowing to, which is, I think, why you chose to investigate it, because maybe where the power is, there are people. So I believe that's what led you to the decision to go down here.
I think Kai's just trying to focus on getting to that depth facility and getting out, you know? a little concerned about the scratchy throat. I think Kai's the kind of person, I'm also this kind of person, who gets really annoyed when they get sick at themselves for getting sick, for being flawed enough to get sick.
If only I put my helmet on and left the recirculation function going.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what she's thinking about. She's like, if I had done this, if I had done that, then then we wouldn't have had a problem. But of course, I decided, no helmet, that's fine, because I'm Kai, and I know everything.
Well, there was also kind of, if memory serves, there was kind of a story reason behind it, because Kai hasn't been in the rain for centuries, presumably.
That's fair.
So she was kind of enjoying the fact that this planet has weather, and she hasn't been in anything but a dust storm in ages.
Thank you. Thank you for making me feel a little better about it. Also, hi Lynn Jersey, hi Roros. Leaf presses buttons and playing science around this stream. So hi guys.
Hi, how's it going? So this is also the portion of the trip where I randomly roll a D percentile and find out what you encounter while you're traveling from point A to point B. And we got a 58 on my little scale, which leads to a very fun thing.
They always seem to be very fun things, Grant. For you.
This one's good. Oh, always. This one's especially fun. So Kai, you pick this up on your sensors. We're gonna say it's sonar more or less, because that's kind of how it operates. You start picking up about half a dozen fairly large blips, and they're kind of swimming alongside you and catching up. And as they get closer, you begin to notice just this deep rumbling sound that translates through the sub's hull into the controls and into the air inside. It sounds like just a series of low moans.
Okay.
What do you choose to do? They're definitely getting closer, and all three of you are very much aware of this sound that just happened.
Okay, I'm gonna turn to them and also get Leaf on the intercom and just be like, anybody have any idea what that is? 'Cause I don't, and I don't like it. Can we roll some sort of knowledge check?
Well, we should be able to tell from the sonar whether they're biological or metal, right?
Oh yeah. Basic sensors will tell you these are definitely some sort of biosign.
Okay.
And they're enormous. If you wanted to roll, say, knowledge, earth, and life science, you might be able to determine something similar that you may have encountered or studied.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Sure.
Okay.
'Cause,
Roll them dice.
I mean, I don't know, Grant. Whales make a weird, spooky noise, but, like, typically don't eat you. Typically.
Usually. Unless you come across an orca, at
Someone
which
want
point
to
it's
pick
up
a
in the air.
color and stream.
Yes.
Well, somebody pick a color for Kyle's dice.
I got a 15, but then I have a +5 modifier.
Actually, I have a special request, Kyle, for your dice. Do you have a rainbow die?
I don't.
God, it's Pride Month.
I will for the next session.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Yes.
Just roll 6 different colors at once.
And
Yep,
then
stream took
average
too
it.
long. We're rotating through all the colors this month.
Okay.
Awesome.
We will
Let's do it.
use all of them. Starting with this purplish blue.
Nice.
That is an 18 plus. This is Earth and Life Sciences.
That's correct.
That is 26.
All right, so a 26 and a 20 respectively. You're going to get roughly the same thing anyway. So both of you roughly equate this to whale song. And there are pods of megafauna on many different oceanic worlds that you've come across that you've studied or at least heard about that essentially do roughly the same thing. They make roughly the same noises. And that's kind of what you are equating this to. I'm going to say, Kyle, you probably get the sense because you rolled a little bit higher. These are communication noises. These aren't, actively I'm trying to hunt something noises, because you would get a rough idea what the difference between those two are. These are just long, calm, deep, just song between animals.
Are we able to translate?
Who knows? This sub might have a translation system on board. As far as you're aware, though, Bessie has no idea what the giant alien whale creatures are saying.
Bessie does not have a Dory-esque translation guide to whale song.
Nope.
Hello.
It's and Bessie also does not know Old Entish. I will say that.
I
Where's
think.
Dory when you need her?
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to look through the computer to see if I can.
Okay. Go ahead and run a computer use check for me in that case.
Okay.
I would like
Well,
to see.
+3, 15.
Let's see.
Okay, a 15. The computer, I mean, the sub's computer identifies it as, it doesn't call it whale because apparently they don't classify them that way in the coalition. They refer to it as Leviathan Class C.
Got it.
Leviathan. That's big.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a big boy.
Actually, 5 of them
5
and one
big
little
boys,
one.
yes,
because
multiple.
you see the pod start coming past the submarine actually as you're running all of these various checks.
Oh, they're
you get
passing
it.
I'm just gonna suggest to Kai that we sort of, I
Chill.
don't know, fly casual.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm not. And when I heard they were when
Is there
Leaf
any
told
way
me
we
they
can
were
sort of give
whales,
them some space?
when Leaf told me they were whales, I think I'm just gonna like. Okay, I don't think they'll eat us. They know we're not krill. I hope. So we'll just kind of vibe. Let them pass.
Okay. And just to double check, you're not shining any extra lights on them or anything like that, correct?
No, I don't want to bother them.
Okay, so I mean, the most you can see is just 5 very, very large dark shapes moving in the inky blackness beyond you, and one smaller one kind of in the middle of them.
A baby.
Mm-hmm.
Leaf's gonna just reach out and kind of brush his consciousness against them and just.
Okay, roll Psycraft.
I would
in
tell
that
you.
case.
I would tell you not to do that if I knew you were doing that because you're gonna spook them.
Psycraft, that's going to be a 27.
Okay, you are very much aware of all of them, and immediately you detect surprise and no small amount of concern. It doesn't border all the way over to just straight up fear, but they're definitely wary of you now. They're not friendlier. They're more cautious.
Great.
And Kai, in the pilot seat, you actually notice the distance indicator on your sonar display is actually starting to tick up. They seem to be giving you more distance now.
Okay. I mean,
However, as far as you're aware, that's just something that they're doing. You have no idea anything else is happening.
that's true. Yeah. It looks
Leaf
all
just
good
kind
to
of
me.
projects pleasant ambivalence. Just, I'm just chilling here. Don't worry about me.
Okay. You still get a lot of wariness, but they're not going to be hostile toward you. They've got better things to do.
I don't think whales are usually encountered with like a secondary conscience touching theirs, so it's probably a little spooky. Either way.
Probably. if he'd rolled like below a 10, I would have had them attack the submarine.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, I kind of figured that before I said it. But it's what I would do.
It's like
It is what Leaf would do.
All right.
it's like I want to pet the whale.
Sadly, Leaf is not Spock, so we can't have any whale petting today. Maybe another time. Okay, so the whales hang out for a little bit. They gain a little bit more distance, but then after about half an hour, they move on. And you're left in the darkness once again until your sonar starts picking up metallic objects and the seafloor growing closer. And it's up to you. Do you activate the submarine's headlights, or do you run on instruments for the time being?
How close are we?
You're getting within 500 meters of this place. And
Do I have any like daytime running lights? Anything real low?
those are currently what's active, just basic running lights to show that there's an object moving through the water. But beyond that, you will be flying blind unless you choose to activate the headlights on this thing. And submarine headlights, for anyone who's unfamiliar, these are really friggin' powerful headlights. They put a car's headlights to shame.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't really want to turn them on because I don't want to spook them, but maybe is it spookier to have a
You would know, having grown up on a water world, that it is spookier having someone come up with just their running lights on.
That's fair.
If you've got headlights on, it means you're announcing your presence, and it also, for a lot of underwater life, it tends to make them back off, because all of a sudden there's this really crazy bright thing. They don't want to be anywhere near it.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'll turn them on. Click.
Okay. As you do, you're still pretty far away from this thing, but you just see this cone of light in front of you just illuminate dozens of meters ahead. And you can see bits of debris floating through the water as you approach this facility. And after another couple of minutes, you end up seeing the metal side of some sort of structure. In fact, it's a whole series of structures you begin to notice. And it's a massive network of modules and connecting passages, all of which have algae and seaweed growing on them. You can see a familiar moon pool near the direction you are moving, and it looks like it's still functional. There aren't any apparent hull breaches that you can see.
I think we should do a once around, look for damaged modules, things like that. Also, while we're doing that, I'm gonna pull out my scanner and we found those power packs in the laboratory module. I want to try and put one of those in my scanner that I found, the more advanced scanner, and I want to see if I can get any bio readings on my two colleagues who are not feeling well.
Okay.
And I also want to quickly find out, are we able to communicate with the original station at all? Like, are we able to transmit information through there? Like, are we able to hear back from our ship?
Did any of you bring a long-range comms unit with you?
Do you think we would have thought of that?
I don't think so, unless there's one on
that
the
was
sub.
that was one of the things we could have requisitioned, right?
Yeah, it was one of the
None
things
of us
you could
requisitioned one.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So, I mean, at the moment, you can't really communicate with the shuttle that's at the main facility. Who knows what the connection is when you reach this current facility you're approaching, but right now
they've got wired connections.
You're pretty sure they do. That's something that
Ethernet.
Yeah, that's something that you and Leaf, that's something you all were aware of when you were poking around the main station. You were able to detect that this place existed, but you weren't able to necessarily communicate. Now that being said, everyone go ahead and make a spot check for me. And Doc, in your case, I'm also going to have you run, what have I been doing for the scanner? I've been doing computer use. So go ahead and run computer use for your scanner.
We're starting it off.
7 for my spot check.
Starting it off strong over here with a 5.
I know, right?
Jesus.
Plus 2, so 9. And then a roll again for computer use. Oh, 4. Jeez.
The dice gods do not smile on us today.
No.
They do not.
17 for Leaf spot check.
Oh, apparently
Okay.
for Leaf they do.
Leaf has sight beyond sight, and actually, Leaf, you detect as Kai does a fly around of this outpost. The outpost is actually set up on the edge of an undersea cliff. You can't really see to the bottom of it, but you suspect it goes down for another few hundred meters at least. So yeah, there's a cliff edge that part of the modules are kind of hanging over. However, as you as you do this once around, you do not detect any. You don't see any kind of damage on the facility. It looks old. It looks like it hasn't been cared for a while, but it seems structurally intact.
Oh, I hope there's nobody down there if they're not taking care of it.
Who knows?
We're gonna
We're
find
about
out in a minute.
Let's see. And sorry, what was the doc's?
I was going to
result
scan her.
for-
My roll was a 9. Or my roll
9?
was a 7 plus 2.
Okay. Yeah, you can't really detect anything extra special or weird going on with your coworkers right now.
Do I see any
Alright.
sort of landing pad, garage type of thing?
There is a moon pool. You
Oh,
also
right, the
pass
moon pool,
by.
yeah.
You also pass by a couple of modules with very, very large doors on them. Just cavernous modules. You could probably park 10 of these submarines, one on top of the other, no problem. But those are closed.
Okay.
However, the moon pool, you pull up to it, and out of curiosity, how used to parking in moon pools is Kai? Because we went over a little bit of the fact that Kai kind of knows how to handle a submarine. But for the most part, we've only ever seen her dock at actual piers rather than a moon pool.
Yeah. I think she did some moon pool docking. I think it's part of the, the
Part of the
driver's test that you take.
The driver's ed that you have to go through.
It's the equivalent of parallel parking when you don't live in a place where parallel parking is necessary. She can do it. She just, it might take her a few, kind of tries.
Okay. You said parallel parking, so go ahead and roll a pilot check for me,
Okay.
because I'm an agent of chaos.
I thought that was my job.
The GM's job too.
You said pilot, right?
Yes.
23.
Yeah, you don't even need to try this multiple times. You line up perfectly, and pull in, rise up out of the water, and you've docked within a few centimeters of the sidewall of the moon pool. So the sub has a station keeping mode, so it kind of just locks itself there with a couple of tethers, and for the most part powers down. It is in standby for you.
Hell yeah. Also, real quick to address the chat, I saw a small snack just redeemed a guide the raid. We still have another hour and a half, but if a Motator is still, I'll check them out in between doing this. If they're still streaming, I will definitely raid them at the end. Thank you for redeeming that.
That'd be cool. Anyway, so you've docked. And another hour has passed, which means it's been about 3.5 hours now in total. So Kai and Leaf, please, each of you, roll a fortitude save.
Oh boy.
I should just memorize my save things for that.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
Also, it shouldn't be that hard because it's 0. That is...
I got
Oh, thank God I misread that the first time. That's a 7, not a 1.
I got a 13.
Okay. Yeah, both of you are beginning to really feel like this cold is getting ugly. You're getting stuffy. It's more than just a scratchy throat now. You're beginning to feel genuinely fatigued, which means you now have the fatigued status on your characters, which makes
Sick.
physical activity a little bit more difficult.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Where do I put this on my character sheet?
Just put in your hit points.
Yeah, just put a note next to hit points because it's something that very much belongs on that page, I think.
Okay.
I need to add in a status effects block at some point. DM notes. Okay. Also, Doc, you're in the cockpit with Kai, and the sub's lights are pretty bright. So as Kai steps out of the seat and turns toward you, I'm not gonna even make you roll a spot check. You immediately notice that there are just blotches of red on her face that were not there before. Just it looks like veins going into some sort of mark. And Kai, if anything, and Leaf too, also Leaf. If anything, you might notice that all of a sudden you're just kind of feeling a little itchy, and this is all over. So,
You
yeah.
said that, it made me itchy, Grant, so thank you for that in real life.
You're welcome.
I was just saying before stream, I look, less so through Streamlabs, I think, but I look a little red on Zoom, and I was like, I wonder if I can fix that. I guess I didn't need to.
It's the contagion.
I would just like to point out, because I find it amusing, Leaf's actually above his max hit points right now, thanks to that stim pack from earlier.
Actually, it's worn off.
Has it?
In the hour of travel, it has worn off.
Oh, actually, Grant, did we determine if my character sheet had an issue or not? We can't.
I don't remember you taking damage at any point.
I don't either. Like, when
Stream,
would I?
if we're wrong and Kai did take damage, remind us. But Kai, go ahead and if you could go ahead and wipe that out, because I don't think that's supposed to be there.
Yeah, right now my hit points were at 17 instead of 23, which is my max. But I'm pretty sure I don't think I've taken damage. If someone wants to dispute that, feel free. Also, real quick, Anakin Spanakin followed. Welcome to the Teach Astronomy family. Love that username. That's very funny.
That is a good one.
Anakin Spanakin.
All right, so Doc, do you tell Kai that she's just got these red veiny blotches on her face? It's like 2 or 3 that you can see through the helmet.
I'm not going to tell her that, but I'm just going to. But I will. But I do think it's a good idea to tell them that the symptoms are, the symptoms are increasing, and we need to hurry.
How do you know? I know how I know. I don't feel good. How do you know? No, I'm kidding. She's just gonna be like, "Oh, okay." I think.
Well, actually, what I'll do is I'll ask. I mean, I'll do is I'll say, Kai and Leaf, how are you feeling? Obviously, you've been infected. Let's just check in.
I mean, not well.
Itchy. Thanks
Itchy.
for asking.
All right. So symptoms are getting worse. I've noticed that the two of you both have, I'll just say,
lesions.
Well, I'll say you have physical symptoms appearing on your skin.
You can say.
So we need to hurry.
You can say that it's. I can feel it. You can say it. It's fun. Let's just go. Is there like a dimmer on the visor? Are there filters built into the visor?
Yeah. Okay. You can polarize that visor. There's some nanotech in this world.
Kai puts a filter on that puts a slightly green tint on it, which is how you get rid of red spots when you do makeup. So.
Okay. The red spots subside slightly.
Thank you.
But the rest of your face is now green.
That's fair. Yes.
It's okay. She's Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West.
It's the lighting.
Okay. Oh, what did I just? I did a thing randomly in my GM notes. That's fun. Okay. Anyway, so you're in the moon pool. It's not much different than the one you left. If anything, it's maybe a little bit more tidy. There are no signs that there are things nesting in here, as far as you can tell. However, if you want to roll a quick spot check for me as you're kind of walking through there, you might notice some things potentially.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I would actually like to do the same Psycraft kind of search around that I did at the last place. In particular, given what I found the last time.
Yeah, go for it.
I got a 9. Oh no.
That's a 12.
So I rolled a 17 plus 2.
For your spot check?
Yeah.
The dog can see.
Wait, hold on. I miscounted that.
My filter is getting in the way a little bit.
That's a 14.
A 14 on your Psycraft? Okay. You can detect the 3 of you. In this case, your 2 companions. There might be some energy deeper into the facility, but you really can't tell. As far as that other presence goes, you have no idea. Now, Doc, as you guys are getting to the the exit door for the moon pool, something catches your eye about the door. The door is open, but you notice there are signs that it didn't open properly. The door is kind of cattywampus in its yes, in its socket, and there are signs that it was forcibly pulled open.
All right, I'm just going to point up and say, point this out to my colleagues and say we need to keep an eye on. This was not open gently.
And you know enough about your own technology to know that it would not be a trivial thing to do if it was your technology, and who knows what the coalition's running. So, food for thought. Anyway.
All right, well, we don't exactly have, huge weapons on us, but
don't have a lot of fallback plans either right now. So you exit the moon pool and end up in what you recognize as more or less a lobby. The first thing you notice is that there are chaotic piles of furniture just in the corners and kind of all over the place. It used to be nice. It used to have a seating area, maybe kind of like the equivalent of an espresso stand in one end, probably. It was nice. It wasn't a bad place to be. However, everything has been wrecked. There are several centimeters of water on the floor, just standing water. There's a little bit of dripping, but you're not hearing a rush of flooding. And you also notice that there are two doors. One is open, and the other is closed. And the closed one has what look like stripes on it. And when you get closer, you begin to notice that they are chaotic claw marks just in this door.
I knew you were going to say that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Of course. Of course. I was leading up to it. The other thing you notice is just in front of this door lies a much decayed corpse. The bones and armored plates are charred, and you're not entirely sure what kind of species you're looking at.
By much decayed, do you just mean a skeleton?
Yes.
Well, okay. I'm gonna scan it with my my
super duper doodad,
my super duper scanner system, and also, I'm gonna see if I recognize anything. I'm gonna use my I forget the term. Use my my knowledge of medicine and.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll for that in this case. Let's see here.
Okay, so my scanner one that I said first was a 2.
Okay.
So I assume that's a computer use thing.
Yeah, in this case, yeah.
What's the point of having this scanner? I feel like hitting. Did you guys ever watch what was it? Quantum Leap? And he always holds Ziggy, and it would always and hiccup and make all sorts of noises, and he'd smack it around. I feel like that.
That's kind of what's happening with this scanner right now. Yeah, it makes sense.
All right, another roll, another 2. Jeez, but plus my 7 of medical knowledge is 9.
Well, I'm gonna say because you've already observed a skeleton similar to this, I'm gonna kind of just give it to you because you did already encounter that one little bit of evidence. So what you find, and you're not sure how it came to be, but the rough skeletal structure of this entity appears to be similar to the coalition member you found on the main facility. However,
okay.
The main difference is that this one has changed. The one you found on the surface facility did not have armor plates and didn't have the 10 centimeter long claws that this thing does.
When you say armor plates, you mean as part of the skeleton now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I misunderstood that. I thought you meant they just were wearing armor when they died. Okay.
Yeah, no, these are bony armor plates.
Cool. That's really fun.
And I mean, The differences continue on, but that's pretty much the most I'm going to give you for that roll. It's just it looks similar to the skeleton you found, but different.
Well, we're doomed, but at least it'll be an interesting way to die.
Right.
If you wanted to, you could all roll an investigate check to try and determine exactly what happened in this room.
Yes, absolutely.
14.
Feel like a little bit of deductive reasoning.
Investigate plus 5, so I got a 19.
18.
17. Wow.
Come on, Kai. Oh, that's not bad
Wow.
compared to our other rolls.
Yeah, through your powers combined, I'll say it's essentially a 20 because it's all three of you kind of looking at this. I'm never let it be said I'm not a merciful GM. So you, after looking around the room, you get the sense that this thing kind of got trapped in here. It was running around trying to find its way through to something, you're not sure what, when all of a sudden something killed it. And actually, it takes you a minute, but you do find that someone, before leaving this room, opened a small port to the recirculation water system that is slowly dripping in here. That's what created the water puddle in the first place, and left some cabling in the water. And you suspect what happened is this thing came in here, started trying to claw its way through the door, and whoever was here before set a trap and electrocuted it. So
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I can take care of you all with electricity when it becomes
Fried.
necessary.
Can I recommend, if you have to dispatch us, use a projectile. These suits protect against electricity.
When you have to dispatch us. No, leave. No, that is not the goal here.
And don't use the darts from my pack. They won't kill us.
I think we need to find our way to a terminal and see if we can get some. I mean, I'm hoping by now that the data will have been uploaded from the main computer to our ship so that we can pick up where the research left off.
We're not standing in the puddle, right?
Oh, you are totally standing in the puddle.
How big's the puddle?
It's a couple of centimeters of water throughout the entire room.
Oh, okay.
Should we turn it off or should we leave it going?
As far as you're aware, there's no current running through that power conduit. Whatever.
Let's turn off the drip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like at least the pumps can clear out this room.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna say, Kai, if you want to, you probably have like a small wrench or a pair of pliers on you that you can just take some of the half-destroyed furniture, climb up, and just tighten this thing a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
And it takes a little bit of effort because it has been corroded, but it seals. You stop getting a drip.
Worse, yeah.
Yeah, you've in the last mission you completely reassembled an engine. I mean, you can do this. This is easy. So yeah.
And then I'm going to take the wires and get them out of the water.
Okay. You get them out of the water and kind of just lay them over something so that they're not going to cause any trouble.
That way, if we re-energize this place, we don't die when we come back through.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is a moon pool entrance, right? This is where like they get a lot of stuff coming in and out, I'm assuming.
Actually, this looks like just a basic lobby.
Lobby. Okay. So we've left the moon pool, we've gone into lobby, right?
Yeah, this does not look like a place where a lot of freight comes through, which is surprising for you.
Because I was gonna say I want to look for some sort of terminal that, like, I would imagine if it was like a any sort of common entrance place, there would be someone that was like, when it was running, there'd be like almost like not valet, but you know what I mean, the person that stands there and is like, "Hi, what you here for?" and then can like contact everyone else. Concierge, yeah.
It's got like 6-inch deep claw marks in it now.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
There's actually the room that with the open door leads to what looks like a conference room, and there is a small computer console in there if you want to try and try and activate that. You kind of saw it as you were running around and investigating.
Sure.
All right.
Why not?
It seems barely functional, so go ahead and roll a computer use check to see if it'll give you access to anything.
Ooh, that's a nat 20. It gives me access to
Okay.
everything.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of just hit the right buttons in the right order with Messie's help, and you give this thing total access to the system, and yeah, you have access. What do you want to do?
Is there any sort of intercom system to the rest of the...
There does seem to be an intercom system to this depth facility and some sort of communication capability to the surface if you wanted to try and maybe piggyback that to your shuttle.
All right, before they...
Just say we should be a little careful about broadcasting our presence to a lot of
I was about to say before anyone
creatures
could
down
stop me,
here.
I use the intercom and I say, hello, we're here to save you. Is anyone alive here?
As you listen, you just hear Kai's voice echoing all around you.
my
And
God.
Kai, you see a little box where there's supposed to be a reply icon. There isn't a single reply.
Oh no, and she's still on the intercom. Oh no, are you all dead? Oh no, that sucks. I'm so sorry. We came as fast as we could. Okay, I'll get off this now, and then unclicks.
Okay?
I'm proud of you. You pushed the button.
Thank you. I'm trying to be a little more like Leaf. Living like Leaf, you know? Living like Larry.
We're gonna converge at some point.
Okay, besides the intercom, is there anything else you're gonna do with this console?
I'll step aside. I'll be like, that's all I wanted to do. Feel free.
Alrighty.
I don't know. I just figured that was going to be the easiest
Well,
way
if
to
you
like,
want to
find out
not
if anyone's
die, we
alive
should
here.
try and contact our shuttle and see if we've got information about this
Yeah.
illness.
I'm going to try and connect through to our shuttle.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll a computer use check for me then. Because you're essentially bridging two systems that might not necessarily like to talk to each other.
Yes.
Whatever you roll a 20, right?
No, it's a 16
Okay.
In total?
in total. Yes.
In total? Okay. Okay, 16, I mean, you know your way into your shuttle. It's not like you're having to break in. So, yeah, you're able to connect, and it looks like the upload has completed. Are you going to try and contact the Endurance and see if they've got anything for you?
Yeah. I'm just status question mark.
Okay. There's a couple moments of pause, and then you receive a message. Leaf, we have had it for a grand total of 30 minutes. We're fast, but we're not that fast.
It's only been 30 minutes.
I mean, it's been uploading this whole time. And it's signed Dr. Hell.
Okay. And then I guess I'll upload a summary of our current vitals.
Yeah, tell them we're at stage 2 and we're itchy.
Yeah.
And that we're concerned.
Technically, this is stage 3.
Just kidding. Stage 3. Please put down stage 3. I don't know what I was thinking of, but a voice in my head said, actually, I think it's stage 3. So I think it might be stage 3. I think I'm getting a little loopy.
I'll upload our current symptoms and vitals.
Thank you.
All
Tell
right,
him it's
let me-
urgent. Tell him Kai says it's urgent. I don't think he'll listen.
And I attack onto that. Kai says, "Take your time."
And Kai, as he hits the send button, you just read that last little part. Yeah. So you're
I'm gonna just give him.
smack him through the spacesuit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So you haven't really taken much of a look at this room besides the computer console. The conference room essentially consists of a row of seats facing what seems to be a shallow, dimly lit pool. You also notice that the pool's water is very still, and there is a open port at the far end of that pool. You get the sense that this is where maybe air breathers or surface dwellers were communicating with those who live in the water.
Got it. Is there a way that we can figure out where all the power from the station above is going in this facility? I mean, everything down here seems to be barely working, but there's tremendous amount of power being shunted down here.
You could try another computer use check on this console you've got active. It might have access to that, but it might be mainly for communication.
5.
Yeah, it's
plus computer use. So you just an 8.
Yeah, it doesn't really tell you much about this facility's power situation. However, you do have access to just a rough directory of what is here, and there are stations down here that could tell you more. There was a power regulation station somewhere in here, and that would definitely give you the answer.
Well, can I also? I mean, can we pull up a map or something of this station?
It does not have a map, sadly.
Okay.
I mean, you do have. I'm going to say in your circle around Kai, you might have maybe had the computer record just a basic layout of the place. So, you've got a general idea of the size of the modules and where they are. You just don't know what each module is.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right.
So, okay, I'm sorry. Remind me. We are in the place we're in. There's only one way that we can go, really? Because there was no other open doors through that lobby area?
Yeah, you could try cutting through the door that the thing was trying to, claw its way through if you wanted to. But, this port in the pool is probably your best bet.
Okay.
Because it's been left open.
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right.
I will follow.
And you said there was just the one console in here?
Correct. It seems to be like a notary or a secretary station or something along those lines.
Okay. Yeah. Can we check and see if there's anybody else connected to the system?
You can, yeah. And the answer is, aside from the computers you may have left on at the surface facility, there's really no one else active.
Cool.
They're all dead.
I say, so much for our rescue mission. We seem to have just put ourselves in danger.
Well, better rescue us then.
Indeed. Well,
Yeah.
So I mean, while we're here, let's look around for technology and anything else that we can grab and.
All right. So first thing, you jump into this pool, and because you've got spacesuits on, you don't really have to worry about breathing. You've got about 4.5, 5 hours left of power and recycling capabilities on your suits. So in about 5 hours, you're going to want to find a place where you can recharge those systems. But for the time being, you're fine. You will be essentially swimming or slow walking, though, because you are underwater, and those of you who aren't necessarily good at swimming, that's going to be kind of your main way of moving around. Your suits are heavy enough where you do have a little bit of neutral buoyancy, but not that much.
Question about the power thing. Would Kai know if we could power that stuff from the submarine if we go back?
You could probably jury rig something. Okay. A power system's a power system at a certain point. If you've got the right parts, you can do something with it.
Cool.
All right. So you go through a small passage corridor sort of thing, and end up in a much larger one. And there are doors leading off of it. I need to actually pull up I've got a map here for this. Here we go. So yeah, there are 4 doors leading off of it, and it just goes off into the distance in darkness, because you're noticing there doesn't seem to be any kind of emergency lighting operating right now. And
I turn on my little flashlight on my multi-tool.
All right. Your multi-tool has a really powerful flashlight, so yeah, you're able to see pretty far. And there are actually there's another door and maybe what looks like a passage branching off at some point. Yeah, these doors all seem to have been left open for the time being. You're not entirely sure why someone would do that, but they are. And yeah, where do you want to go?
All right, gang, let's split up. Everybody take a door.
Yeah, I think we don't have time to stay together, even though that's what I'd prefer.
All right, so there are two sets of doors opposite each other, directly in front of you. Who goes right or left?
Kai dips into the first one on the right.
First one on the right. Okay. So what you notice is that it looks like just rows upon rows of some sort of stasis pod or capsule. And they're stacked vertically in, it looks like 5 rows. And as you kind of float / swim / walk down them, you notice that they've all been left open. And each one has a corresponding locker with it. And as you continue down into the depths of this dormitory, you begin to realize there are also sanitary facilities and washing facilities and stuff like that. And if you wanted to, you could run a search check to see if there's anything here. You could also try a knowledge check to determine what kind of species you're dealing with.
I'll do a knowledge check, I think.
All right, knowledge, earth and life sciences.
All right. That is it's just a 12. Not too good.
12. I mean, they definitely live in the water. That's the one thing you can determine. Beyond that, though, I mean, you're not entirely sure.
Well, I'm going to do the same check. I rolled a 20.
Are you in a different module?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to assume you went to the one opposite.
Yes.
And in this case, when you take a look at these utility spots, these essentially locker rooms, you determine that they were made for an aquatic species that had scales and was perhaps concerned about seaborne parasites and keeping themselves clean after exposure to the sea. So you get a sense that these were different from anything you've personally encountered. They're definitely not cephalopod style creatures.
Got it. Okay. Are there controls for making the systems work?
There are. They seem to be primarily knobs and levers, and some old-fashioned just big old push buttons that you could potentially use.
All right. I'm going to look around to see if there's any words or explanations or instructions or anything.
Okay. What am I gonna have you roll for that? I'm gonna have you go ahead and roll a search check for that. Kai, if you're gonna search your module, go ahead and roll one for yourself. And while you two are coming up with those results, what is Leaf up to?
You said there was a third door, right?
Oh, there's a third and a fourth door. They seem to be another set mirrored beyond the two that your coworkers just went into.
Is there anything different between them?
I'm gonna say you just can easily stick your head in to each one of them, and they look similar to the apartment-style dormitories you saw in the surface facility. Kind of multi-floored, although instead of stairs, it looks like they can just swim wherever they want to go. So yeah, it's not quite as open a space, but they've got a small lobby and then 2 tiers of small accommodations.
I got a 14 for that search check, by the way.
Okay.
Leaf is going to recharge his tattoo and then go poke around.
Okay, which one, right or left?
Left.
Left? Okay. And what did the doc get for his search check?
I only rolled an 8, so with my search +4 ends up with a 12.
Okay. Doc, you don't really find much of anything. However, Kai, you end up finding a small. It looks like essentially a knife. It's kind of got a oddly crescent-shaped blade to it, a handle, and what looks like some sort of alien power cell attached with wires to the handle. There's a small switch around where your thumb goes, and do you press the button?
Absolutely, I press the button.
You press the button.
Hold it out, and I press the button.
You press the button, and you feel it just kind of vibrate for a second, and then you notice the water around the blade starts bubbling, and the blade starts to glow.
I put my other hand very carefully, kind of close to it, to see if it's like a heat thing.
Your suit kind of protects you from that, but you start getting a temperature warning as your hand gets closer to it.
Hell yeah! I run out of the room. Guys, I found a hot knife!
You just hear that over the intercom without any other explanation.
I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna tell everybody there's some sort of sanitation apparatus in this room. When you have a chance, could either or both of you come take a look, and maybe Bessie can help figure out how it works.
Just patch your video feed through. I'll
come in. I have a hot knife.
Okay. I'm gonna send Leaf my video feed.
Look at this
camera.
Okay. And Leaf, were you going to run your own search check of the dormitory you were in? Yeah, go ahead and go for it.
That's a 17 plus something. Where is search?
with the S's.
Plus 5, that's 22.
Okay.
I can math.
With a 22, you actually, while you're being distracted by your friends, you kind of poke through some of the apartments, and then you find one that, you wouldn't necessarily want to give it a second look. You're just kind of perusing, but then you notice something underneath some sort of furniture item. You think it's a storage chest, and when you take a closer look, you pull out what looks like just a little action figure sort of thing. And if you had to relate it to anything you've seen before, it almost looks like a merman sort of thing. It's got a fish-like tail, it's got a torso, it's got arms, it's got a head, and it seems to be sporting some sort of alien bandolier and some sort of trident-like weapon on it. And yeah, it's a cool little thing. You're not entirely sure if it does anything, but it's still poseable. You play with it a little bit, and it's still able to do stuff. And with that, you actually gain some xenology research.
I got a knife. I feel like what we find is very tailored to our characters.
It wasn't meant to be, but that's just what happened.
It's just how it happens,
All right, now
I've become
with Bessie,
tank.
With Bessie applied to this problem, Bessie actually spits out some data for you, and there was some very, very, very faded text on one of the utility walls that you might have missed, and it essentially reads sonic cleaning facility, activate, deactivate, intensity, something along those lines. But it's so faded that really you would not have noticed if it hadn't been for Bessie running like 20 different algorithms to clean it up.
Got it. I'm just wondering if there's any way to apply this to our current problem.
It doesn't look like it. It looks like these are purely sanitary.
Like external sanitary.
Yep.
Got it. All right, then I say we keep looking around.
Alrighty.
Is there anything in the chest?
Oh, in the chest of stuff? There are some like containers that hold what looks like very, very, very old and dead food. It looks like it was like a kitchen console of some kind, and there was food in here at one point. You would not call it food anymore.
Like how you say dead and not like rotten or spoiled.
I mean, okay, it kind of fits all of those words.
No,
Dead,
it's
rotten,
funny.
spoiled.
Dead is funnier.
Yes.
I guess I'll wander back out to the lobby area.
Okay. Yeah, you're. I'm gonna say you're all back in this main corridor, and
Leaf,
you
look at the knife. It's so cool. Don't touch it. It'll burn you.
You can turn it off, just so you know.
I turned it off already. It's
Okay.
maybe it's like one of those what is it? Electric stovetops where it stays hot after.
Probably, but it's also surrounded by water too, so that's probably helping. All right, so yeah, there are. Do you go into the fourth dormitory? It's it's exactly similar to the one you were just in.
I think we should
Leaf.
check it out.
Okay, you check it out and go ahead and roll a search check for me. Whoever's
No
checking
whammy,
it
no
out.
whammy, no whammy. 8. My searches are terrible.
Well, sadly, you don't really find much of anything. It looks like if you were to live here, you'd probably be okay with this. This seems like a fairly decent place for an aquatic being such as yourself to exist. Not the
Excellent.
fanciest stuff you've ever seen, but livable. All right, so you're at a point where you're past the dormitories, these two mirrored sets of doors. There is a door on your right. There is also another passage leading to your left with a door at the far end and a door about halfway down.
All right, I'll head straight for the end, the final door, or the furthest
Sounds
away
good.
one.
Sounds good. All right, Doc, you're doing that. Kai and Leaf, what do you do?
I will go to one of the other ones that you mentioned. I got confused about which one exactly the doctor.
It's okay. There's one immediately on your right on the same corridor you've been traveling down. There's also one down this branching corridor that would be also on your right. So it's kind of around the corner.
I'll take the branching corridor.
Okay.
I'll take the near one.
All right. And
Have a good night,
Leaf.
Tana. Sorry,
Good
someone said
night.
good night. So see
You're
you
good.
next time.
So Leaf, seeing as you're kind of the person at the back of the party, make a listen check for me with advantage.
One side.
And it's with advantage, so
I know, I rolled 2 dice.
oh no.
Which
What'd
was
you
the
get?
That's plus 3. That's 15.
Okay. Somewhere back behind you, you hear the sound of something toppling. Like metal crate just going bang, 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 bang against something. Let's
Bless
see.
you.
So yeah, you hear that behind you. It's a little muffled, but you are entirely sure you heard it. And you're not entirely sure if the rest of the party did, because they're already moving down into the
Guys?
corridor.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
No.
Something went clang, like toppling thing. I can't do the sounds, but metal falling thing behind us.
Like in water or like
I
in
don't
air?
think we're alone. I guess we're underwater, aren't we?
Yeah, so like in water or like in air?
You got advantage because you're hearing this through water. Water translates sound like nobody's business.
Okay, so it is water.
Water.
We better turn around and go back and check it out.
I'd like to do to probe behind us psionically also, just like kind of expand awareness back that direction and see if there's anything
Okay.
there.
Roll Psycraft.
15.
15? I mean, there could be, but there couldn't be. It could be something outside the facility for all you know. You don't.
I'm
going
gonna
to
try using my scanner. It hasn't served me well yet, but give it a
Okay.
try.
I'm
Go
still
ahead and
gonna
roll
peek.
computer use.
I'm still gonna peek into the room. before I go away.
10 plus computer use 10, so 13.
13. I mean, there's definitely local fauna outside the facility roaming around, so it's entirely possible something just ran into the facility.
All right. Well, not enough data to turn around. Should we go back and check it out, or should we just keep moving forward?
Let's how about we stick together?
I'm still peeking into the room, and I'm gonna
Well,
come back.
while-
so-
Okay. Well, I'm
While
going to
they're
come back
having-
and I'll go with the. I'll come back and I'll go with Leaf into the first room.
I would also like to
Okay.
say that at this point I am regularly looking behind me.
Okay, with your suit's helmet light just on. Okay, so Kai, while the boys are going into this other room, you poke your head into this other room, and it's really hard to tell what's going on in there because when you open the door, you initially think you have opened into a kelp forest of some kind. The floor to ceiling, seaweed and other aquatic plants fill the room, and the lights above you are completely on. They are incredibly bright, and they're filtering and tinting everything green. It looks like it's a hydroponics bay of some kind because there are grow beds where all of this stuff is coming from.
And it's all alive.
Yeah, make a spot check for me
Okay.
at disadvantage because there's just a lot of stuff in here.
Well, I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you.
That's a 5 with disadvantage. So
Yeah, there. I mean, it looks
It's
more or
scale.
less alive.
okay.
I mean, chances are there might. I mean, if you wanted to like scavenge parts from in here, you're aware that most hydroponics bays usually have spare parts lying around just in case one of the lights breaks or something like that.
I think for now I'll close the door and I'll join up with the guys.
Okay. So,
Guys, there's a farm down here.
So, you are all at the door to a fairly small room. It's nowhere near as big as the dormitories you were just at or the hydroponics bay. And it appears to be one of the few other rooms running at full power. Everything else here has been completely dark except for the hydroponics bay and so far this room. To your left, as you enter, you can see a control station with images and data flashing across the screens. At the room's center are a series of pods set in circles, 4 to each. And there appear to be 40 in total. As you approach, you are aware of an effect that looks like old television static and a slowly repeating pulse of sound from each pod.
Do they look familiar? I mean, do they look like stasis pods? I mean, if I walk
They-
up closer to them, and is there a window, or are they clear? Is it opaque? Like, what's it?
Yeah, it's clear, although that staticky looking effect is making it hard to determine what's inside. However, roll a treat injury check for me.
All right, here.
What an interesting check.
17 plus treat injury plus 11.
Okay. Yeah, 28, that's more than enough. So, the first thing that kind of comes to mind as you approach these things, and you're just hearing that pulse repeatedly over and over again, just slowly from every single pod, you begin to realize that that's a heart monitor, just a respiration monitor of some kind. And these pods are relatively small. Compared to a human, they are maybe half of your full height if you were to, like float right next to one. And I'm going to kind of play with this and just say you go over to maybe the console that's showing a whole bunch of data and stuff, and you conclude that these are holding small non-human entities in suspended animation. And that was not the original intention for these pods. These seem to be stasis pods for sure, but they seem to be more designed for incubation rather than for long-term animation.
Do we?
Interesting. And can I try the computer and see if I can get any more information?
You can try computer use check on it.
Just for the love of, do not wake them up, please.
A 3
Why
plus
not?
computer
They
use.
might know what we need
6.
to know.
A big, bright yellow message appears on the screen, and Bessie essentially translates it to access denied.
Leaf, do you want to check this out and see if you can find out more about what's going on here? Now, was the message that we got, the rescue there, the message for assistance did not have visual information, right? It was just
Correct.
audio or text.
It was text only. Well, text and audio.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask Leaf if
Hey,
That was an
if-
8.
but no, I
Oh,
haven't
sorry.
rolled anything.
Okay.
Hey, Bessie, are there any? Is there anything? Are there any species you know of that are like sapient, that are that small after they reach adulthood?
Bessie processes for a moment, and then says there are approximately 582 known coalition species that could be of the size determined.
Do any of them live underwater?
Processing. Approximately 20% are known to live subaquatic.
Okay, there's a chance that this isn't a hatchery that turned stasis. Although nothing in this facility looks like it was built for someone this small.
Oh, you also found a toy while you were, exploring.
And there's
so
a toy. Hold it up.
Maybe we wake them
Let's
up.
let's not wake up the babies
Why
and
not?
infect them with an alien disease.
Okay, well that's fair.
That looks bad as far as
yeah, I think we should not try and
As far
infect
as-
them.
Interspecies relations.
especially after the last
Mhm.
visitors came and blew up all of the parents.
That's fair. So. But there's-
So, I am going to very, very carefully try and see if I can figure out anything else from this console without hitting any buttons that look like they might wake something up.
okay. Something you quickly find, and you don't have to roll for this because it's very obvious from the first button press. This console is not going to unlock itself for you. Every time you hit a button, it says access denied and requests a passcode. And
I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, it's not going to give you anything else.
Can I try a passcode?
Sure.
Leaf is going to step between you and this console.
Why?
Because those could be babies,
That's fine.
and we're infected with an alien disease.
I'm just gonna try a passcode. Then it'll just
Yeah,
open
so what
the
if it
computer.
accidentally-
What if you unlock it?
I won't.
What if it triggers an alarm?
Who's gonna answer it?
There was a robot in the last place.
And we convinced him in like 2 seconds that we were coalition. It's fine. I just try it.
1. Leaf steps aside.
Fuck yeah! It's a nat 20. Grant, give me something. I'm not
pass-
kidding. It's a nat 20.
What password do you enter?
I don't know. God. I can go 2 ways with this. One is
Oh no.
typing password. The other one.
The alien equivalent of password.
Yeah. The other is I mean there is something in me keeps telling me like this all seems very familiar. I don't know. Something my
Okay.
parents used to use.
So, not your parents, I'm going to say. Okay, so Kai, you
Okay. Not my parents, but someone else.
something comes to mind, and you're not sure exactly how this popped into mind, but you remember an old saying that the species you grew up with on your world, the people who had an old word that called them martyrdom, they had a saying, and it is flow as the currents do. And you're not sure why, but you suspect you type it in using Bessie to translate because you do not speak this language.
Mhm.
hit a button, and it seems to accept the password. However, when you try to access anything having to do with the pods, it still blocks you completely.
I'm not trying to access the pods. I'm trying to access any sort of like research info that might also be on here. I'm not letting the children out. I just literally wanted to see if I could get through the access denied for everything.
Okay, so yeah, half of this console's like X'd out in yellow, saying
fair.
"Do not touch," essentially. However, the rest of it seems to be granting you access for the time being.
Okay, I turn around to Leaf and I go, what did I say? Sometimes. I don't know, there's a little something there. You can go ahead now. Have fun.
Okay. What did you type?
You don't need to know that. Password. I typed password.
Leaf is looking at the translation log scroll across his screen, and it's just like, sure. Bessie likes me better than you.
I mean, she can show you. It doesn't mean it means anything to Leaf, but...
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll poke around in the non-pod related part of this and see if there's anything useful to us.
Okay. This console more or less concerns life support, and it has access to the facility's life support systems. Overall, all of the crew quarters and crew compartments that would get life support are not getting it right now. There is no oxygenated water being circulated. There's no temperature control, none of that. However, the main power draws are for the hydroponics bay, which seems to be hardwired in, and they can't turn it off. One of the others is this room, which is, you actually notice that the priority is above all of the second room that's powered. And the last room appears to be an actual stasis bay.
Let's go to the stasis bay.
Yeah, and the numbers range into the hundreds for the number of pods that are being currently powered.
I guess we know where the occupants are.
Let's go to the stasis bay and wake somebody up. Woo!
Again, we don't have a cure for their disease yet.
Well...
And if they had one, they wouldn't have sealed themselves in stasis.
Yeah, but maybe if we wake one of them up, they can help us figure out the cure, because now we have... I don't know.
I agree. Well, we're very close. I mean, they were close to a cure, and...
The Endurance is working on it.
The Endurance is working on it, too. I mean, unless you want to...
Die.
As long as we understand that
and
whoever we're waking up,
on the station.
we're potentially killing.
We'll find someone who would probably have volunteered anyway.
Can I pull up personality profiles on the people in stasis?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there are personnel records. It'll take you a couple of hours to read all of them.
Well, we can do a search for doctors.
Yeah.
There are a few. There are no mad scientist types as far as you can tell. There doesn't seem to be a flag for mad scientist in this system.
That's a design flaw.
Well,
they should know
who
their
knows?
personnel.
Who knows? Who knows how the coalition of Alloc works?
Apparently,
so there are a couple of doctors. You can choose one at random and remember their name if you want to.
So well, let's walk down to the stasis room.
Leaf's gonna memorize their names.
Okay. Oh, here we go. This is the random family showing up again.
You don't need to give them names now. You can say Leaf memorizes the names. That's fine.
Yes. You memorize the names.
And that's it.
And I have to come up with a word that means random in this language. Hang on. Okay, there we go. The random family continues.
All
right, so you're done in this room. You still have that branching passage that goes back to the room that I found.
I would like to lock the console again before we leave.
Okay. You do the equivalent of locking it, and it goes back to just streaming data, which seems to be their version of a screensaver.
Do they have the windows where it almost bounces in the corner, but then it doesn't? Bing.
Not quite. It looks more like Matthew's background, where it's just matrixy.
Ooh, that's a familiar screensaver.
Okay, so where do you go from here? You've got that branching corridor, and then you've got that main corridor you were traveling down earlier.
The branching corridor is next, right? So let's hit the branching corridor.
Branching corridor was where the hydroponics was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we already looked in that room.
Yeah, we already looked in that room. Should we all go in and check it out?
The hydroponics?
Yeah.
I kind of just want to go to the stasis bay.
Okay, sounds good. Let's head there.
You have no idea where the stasis bay is.
Well, it was one of the rooms we haven't been in, right?
Hmm?
So which ones haven't we
let's
been
head
in?
to the end of let's head to the end of the corridor.
Okay, the main one?
Yes.
Okay, so you pass by another set of mirrored doors. One smaller, the other is kind of a double, like large utility workshop door sort of thing. Pass by those. There's another branching corridor going off to the right. Stop me whenever you want to. You pass by another set of very large doors mirroring each other as the corridor widens.
That one.
Okay. Which one? Right or left?
The big.
How large
set
are
of
these? Do these
double
look like
doors.
the ones that we saw from the outside of the facility?
They're definitely smaller.
Okay.
However,
But those were like garage doors on the outside, right?
oh yeah, those were hangar doors.
Okay.
These, however, look big enough where a decent piece of equipment could fit through them,
Yeah.
like a forklift or something along those lines.
I'm pulling those open.
All right, you find a manual access, and you're able to start cranking it open slowly. It takes a few minutes, but you're able to get one of these doors wide enough for one of you to fit through. But I still need to know right or left.
What do you mean right or left?
There are two sets of doors, one on the right, one on the left.
Oh, I thought you meant like there was one set of doors that was a big set, and then there was another one that was a normal door.
That was earlier.
Okay.
We passed those.
We passed those. These are even bigger.
Okay, they're right, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. You open that up. Who's poking their head through?
I mean, me, probably.
Okay. With the multi-tools flashlight, you're able to just get a clear look at this room, and what you see is just a mountain of what look like cargo containers. Just a mountain of them.
Cargo containers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
They look like they might have been organized at one point, but something shifted them at some point, and they're kind of just toppled all over the place.
Okay, I pull my head back out, and I go, nope, wrong room. Close the door.
All right, let's look across the hall.
Yeah.
Okay. Another couple of minutes later, you do the same thing. Kai, you poke your head in, and this one's a little different. Where's my description? So what you notice is towering machinery and pipes flank you on either side as you entered this particular room. There are crates littering the floor, and inside and around them you can see the squared off forms of what look like refined metal. The only light available is what you are providing. It's still pitch black in here.
God damn it.
There is one more door at the end of this corridor. It's just you hadn't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
So you said there's 5 doors total, right?
There are so many doors you guys haven't been to yet. There, after leaving that nursery sort of place, there was a door at the end of the branching hallway that you didn't check out. There were a pair of mirrored doors, one rather small.
I thought I went into the one in the branching hallway.
You went to one of the doors in the branching hallway. Matthew was about to head. The doc was about to head to the one at the far end. And then there was another corridor going off to the right this time with a door at its end. You have the 2 big doors that you just checked out, and then one set of doors at the end of this passage.
All right, well, again, let's split up again and go check out all these passages and doors.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go through a small door.
I'll take the big
small
one
door.
at the end of the hallway.
I'm gonna go back to the branching. Can I go all the way back, or are we too far?
Yep, you can go all the way back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go all the way back and
Keep
go to
an eye out for sharks.
go to the door that I was originally going to check out at the branching.
Okay. That door, start with Matthew and work our way back. So that door leads to here it is, a room that appears to have a large counter and bar at its far end. The rest of the area appears to be dominated by pedestal-like tables. Behind the counter and that bar are rows of tanks and cupboards dominated by seaweed and the occasional coral.
You
It looks
found
like
the pub.
Corks.
Yeah, essentially. It's the galley for the place. Now, Leaf, you were going to the smaller door that's opposite the double door, right?
Mm-hmm.
You open that one. It's already partially open, but you have to winch it open a little bit more. And while you recognize elements of other medical centers you've seen elsewhere, you realize that this one is in total disarray. It's beyond the floating algae and bits and pieces of organic matter. There's equipment and signs of consumables that appear to have been scattered everywhere. You aren't sure what's still useful, but if you wanted to do a search check, you might find something. You could also run an investigate check to find out what on earth happened here.
I'm gonna do that first.
All right. Go ahead and roll investigate.
First. That is 24.
This was definitely the result of some sort of medical emergency. Just a series of translations from Bessie tell you that there are suture kits all over the place. There are pressure bandages. Something seriously bad happened here at some point. And that's why it's a complete mess.
And nobody cleaned it up after. Ooh.
And nobody cleaned it up afterward.
And everybody's in stasis. Yeah, I'm gonna search around and see if I can find anything. Any usable supplies or equipment, just in case we need them. But also any information.
All right, go ahead and roll search for me.
It's not nearly as good. That is a 13.
Okay. You find a little bit among the wreckage. You find a couple of vials that Bessie translates to be the anti-mutagenic agent that your robot friend Artie was talking about back in the main facility. So
definitely taking those.
Yeah, those might help you and Kai out a little bit. You also find in its package what looks like another one of those little modular add-ons to the multi-tool that Kai's been carrying around this entire time. It seems to be it translates to a fairly basic bioscanner, nowhere near as advanced as what the doc is using, but who knows, it might be useful for Kai to have something like that at some point.
How much does all this stuff collectively weigh?
Collectively maybe 2 kilograms at most. It's not that much,
because these things matter.
Well, not as much as you think in water. It's not going to be as much of a problem for Leaf in the water. On land, yeah, it's going to be a problem, but right now not so much.
For Leaf in the water, it's not a big deal. However, for Leaf in the wind.
How many vials of anti-mutagenic serum did I just find?
That was a funny joke.
Only 2.
That was a really funny joke, guys. I just want to let you know
It was pretty great.
Funny.
It was very.
Okay, so I found anti-mutagenic serum and a multi-tool attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are there any computers or anything in this space?
There seems to be a medical console. You could probably activate it if you wanted to.
Yeah, can I pull it up and see if I can figure out what happened here?
Yeah, roll computer use.
Ouch. That's a 12, which, yeah.
There are a lot of routine reports. You really don't find anything about this particular emergency in the short time you're checking it out.
Cool. Yeah, I guess I will just start heading back.
Are you telling us what you found, or are you just exploring? Because
yeah, I'll narrate the highlights.
Okay. Well, I'd like to I'd like to check out the medical bay. But can I do a search of the room that I
Sure.
went into?
I also, while you roll that, one of our viewers, Squinting Whale, said, "Can the multi-tool attachment enable Leaf to press even more buttons at a time?"
He needs his own multi-tool to do that. I'm pretty sure Kai is attached to hers right now.
I'm quite
No,
literally...
it's attached to her.
I don't take it off.
It's like a Pip-Boy from Fallout. It stays there forever. While the doc is searching, Kai, you're at this another set of double doors at the end of the hallway, and these are not open. They seem to be closed and locked.
That's promising.
There is a control panel. However, it is not. You tap it, and it just does not want to behave itself. It keeps flashing yellow and orange at you. However, with like this little field toolkit that I'm sure you carry around with you, you could probably pry it apart and maybe short circuit something. It'll require a repair check, but the result of failure might not be that fun.
Okay.
Because you're going to be working with live electric components here.
Yeah.
Underwater.
Underwater.
That's if I want to get this control panel working, right? If I want to just burn through the door.
You could just burn through the door. That will take time.
I know.
Because, I mean, you did the same thing above, and those were pretty standard doors. This one, you just take one look at it, and you know it's easily twice as thick, if not more. This is a security door. I feel like
a strategic burning of like the lock and then the hinges.
It's not. This is not hinged.
Well, what kind of door is it?
This is a sliding door.
Right.
It's a sliding blast door. Think Star Wars.
Okay, so you want me to get electrocuted? So I will do.
I'll
do the repair check.
You could cut it too. It's just you got time. Time's the issue.
No, I'm doing the repair check.
How sturdy is the wall relative to the door?
Probably just as, if not more so.
My repair is 7, so I got a 24.
24. Okay, yeah, you use this new little knife that you found to kind of pry the face off of the off of this control panel, and then just cut a couple of wires and start zapping them together a few times. Your suit gives you EM warnings a couple of times because it's getting a little bit hot out there for the suit, but after a couple of minutes you manage to short circuit it, and you hear the sound of the door clack and start grinding open.
Hell yeah. I walk on in.
All right. Before we get to that, so Doc, what was your search result? And you're searching the galley that you're in, right?
Right. I rolled a 1.
Oh, okay. I mean, with a 1, some of the seaweed actually looks like it might be edible.
Eat it. Do it.
Don't take off your spacesuit.
Oh, true.
I'm just gonna leave.
Okay.
Nothing looks particularly interesting. Nothing seems like it's particularly relevant to our current situation, so I'm gonna take off.
All right. And are you heading back to Leaf and the medical center?
Yes,
or...
I'm gonna head to the medical bay.
All right. While you do that, Kai, the room at the end of the hall opens into a single massive space that you realize quickly descends into the depths below. You step out onto a platform that lines the space's hexagonal perimeter, and you find it laced with pipes and cables of all sizes. They lead to a column of discs, each one with oval pods set into them. When you check over the edge of the platform, you can tell it reaches down several stories into the bedrock below you.
Oh. I did it. Yay. I'm also, in my head, I'm like, thank Christ I didn't let them change the power.
There's also a comforting hum of technology and electricity running through this facility right now.
Cool. Is there any sort of computer?
There is a control console overlooking this essentially cavern going down.
Great.
So you do have one.
I'll start working on that, and I'll tell them, I found it. Come to the end of the corridor.
All right. Go ahead and roll a computer use check for me, Vicky. And meanwhile, Doc, you were going to search the medical bay really quick.
Yeah, did I pass any doors on the way to the medical bay that we hadn't looked in yet?
There is a set of doors opposite the medical bay that no one's been through yet.
Okay, well, before I go into the medical bay, actually, let me go check out the medical bay first. So I'll check out the medical bay, and what do I need to do? A search check?
Yes, please.
12 plus 4, so 16.
Okay. You didn't do much better than Leaf. You find, I'm going to say you find one more vial of the anti-mutagenic serum.
Okay.
But that raises your grand total to just 3 in total.
Now, remind me, what was the mutagenic compound? Was that something that he gave to us?
That was something that the logs indicated slowed the process in the chief scientist at the main facility. So it might buy Kai and Leaf a little bit more time.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask them. I'm going to ask Leaf, I found some of this mutagenic compound that the logs suggest will slow down the progress. Are you interested in,
Can
you want me
you
to
analyze
give it to you?
first? Do we know this is safe for humans?
Well, you know what's not safe is whatever you have. You know it's definitely not safe?
But I've got time on that one. This could kill me now.
I mean, am I familiar with this mutagenic compound? Is this a standard thing? Is this something that's totally unfamiliar? I mean,
this is not standard. You're aware of some experimental technologies at the time of your leaving human space that operated using mutagenic compounds, mostly to counteract radiation or new forms of, say, cancerous diseases, that sort of thing. That's what you're used to seeing these things work against. However, you have no idea how an alien anti-mutagenic compound would work. It might be tuned specifically for their physiology. You're just not sure.
I would hope it was to be tuned specifically to their physiology. Like, we don't give the same medicine to, like, dogs that we do to horses.
actually, we do.
Dogs and horses?
Yeah.
We give them the same antidepressants we give humans too.
Yeah.
But not like the same amounts.
No, the amounts are different.
Yeah.
But the compounds, like
Is this like a pill form? This
biology.
No, this stuff is, well, I'm assuming you're asking about
it's
the serum.
injectable. If it's a vial, so it's injectable.
Yeah, this is McCoy level. Just stab him with a thing, and it'll
That's
do
what I'm
something.
saying. You stab a horse with a needle full of stuff. It's probably going to be a bigger needle full of stuff than you stab a chihuahua with.
Indeed.
I was not expecting the chihuahua. I was expecting something else, but that works. All right.
Can you like analyze it or something
Yeah,
first
well, I'm gonna
before
try and
you
scan
stab
it.
me with it?
Well, it would be great if we could access the logs so that we understood how this was being used. Is there any progress on that?
I'm sorry. Someone in chat just said, unless it's a really small horse or a really big chihuahua. You're not wrong.
Exactly.
I don't think that. I'm not sure that. I think that the smallest horses and the largest dogs overlap, but I don't know about the largest chihuahuas and the smallest ponies.
Chihuahuas are pretty.
Before or after they're exposed to this alien mutagen?
I'm F.A., the mutated chihuahua. I am
If
the
we
ultimate.
find one, I'm keeping it.
Of course you
A
are.
mutated chihuahua? Oh no.
All
We're
right,
gonna
well,
have
I
a
mean, I'm
zoo
gonna
by the
I'm
end
gonna
of this
ask.
campaign.
I mean, Bessie, are we having any luck on accessing the computers and the logs?
Bessie just says translation matrix is complete. Accessing the computer is up to you.
Well, I'm trying to access the computer.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try it. I mean, are the
Here, I guess
computers? Are there any consoles in the mid bay?
Yeah,
There's
one.
the one here. I'll keep trying. And do you want to see if you can figure out what the heck happened here?
Yes.
All right.
Or you can go across the hall and I'll keep playing with this computer. Leaf just likes to be left alone with computers.
All right. Well, I'm gonna do an investigate check.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely go for it. This is going to be an investigate check on the room to determine what's happened, if you can determine anything beyond what Leaf did.
Yes. So I rolled a 16 plus 5.
Yeah,
20.
I mean, like Leaf, you conclude that a medical emergency did happen here. Maybe with your medical knowledge, you have the slight insight that with the suture kits and the number of bandages here, someone got stabbed or slashed or had some sort of bad
Physical
bleeding
injury.
injury. Yeah, some sort of really bad bleeding injury. But beyond that, you're not entirely sure what else could have happened.
Okay. Well, then I will. I mean, I'm going to look around. I mean, is there any technology I can see? And I'm looking for more of those pads that I found above power cells for scanners. Is there any medical technology that's around that could be useful?
I mean, you find some old scanners, you find some old diagnostic equipment, maybe even a multi-tool, but all of these things are long past functioning because they haven't been sealed away and protected from the environment. So they're in pretty bad shape, and there's not a lick of power in any of them.
And there's no cabinets in the med bay that are like sealed or
part of the search, and Leaf would have probably clued you into this. Part of his search included those cabinets, and that's essentially what he found. None of them were particularly sealed. Anything that may have been sealed was left open.
Okay, sounds good. Well, then I'll run across the hall and see if I can get the doors open.
Okay. While the doc is doing that, because that's going to take a couple minutes, is Leaf going to go help with that, or are you going to keep working on the console?
I'm going to keep working on the console and see if we can get logs, because the doc told me that he wanted logs.
Okay. Go ahead and roll another computer use check. And while we're doing that, Kai, what are you up to?
Well, you had me roll a computer use check for...
Right.
Computer.
What was the result for that?
Was it 24?
Ooh, okay. Yeah, you...
Because I knew that password.
Yeah, you know the password. You suspect it's going to take a little bit more collaboration with another person who understands computers, but also someone who understands biology if you want to thaw anyone out here. But you have access to the computer now, and you can locate someone to thaw out if you choose. But doing it successfully is going to probably be a team effort.
Okay. Is there just a name database that I could search through?
Mm-hmm.
Great. I would love to search a couple names. Okay. The evidence I have for this is I have known too much about this planet. And I hate that. And Kai is very curious. She's going to search up a few familiar last names from her childhood.
Okay.
Like some of her friends. Just for fun.
Okay.
Like a phone book.
Yeah, you start going through name after name after name after name. You go through about 40 names that you remember before you come across one. Rasok. In English, it's spelled R-A-S-O-C-C. It translates to random. And
iconic, Grant.
Iconic. That's what my nameless NPCs
was the first
always
name.
become.
That's the last name.
Random Bob. Anyway.
We need to find like a list of names, and then just like you can grab a random name.
That's what I'm telling you. That random name generator thing that I showed you is great. But anyway.
But I love just having Joe, Bob, Betty, and Marcy random show up all the time. Anyway, so yeah, you find this name, and you knew a family back on your home world with that name. They were deep sea calamari fishermen, actually. You had a lot of stories about wrestling giant tentacly creatures.
That's a wild way to go calamari fishing, but okay. That is insane.
The way they explained it is that's how we do it in the old country.
And you know what? I respected that.
Yeah. There is one name that's similar, and given names, you find a few here and there that ring some bells.
Okay. I was mainly, I don't know. It's been how many hundreds of years since we left
Well,
Earth?
for you, it's been a grand total of maybe. For you, it's been maybe 10 years or so. 10 years at the far end for
Okay.
how long it's been since you were home. But since the Endurance left,
Yeah,
it's
that's what
been
I'm saying.
probably. It's been coming up to like 300 or something like that.
Yeah, so I was mainly looking for like descendants. I wasn't expecting anyone to still be kicking it. But okay, it's not. If it took me 40 tries, then I'm not. Anyway, I'm just gonna radio to them and just be like, "You guys coming? I want to wake somebody up, but I don't want to turn someone into a zombie at the same time. So, if you would like to prevent the zombieing."
Okay. So what was Leaf's computer use result?
22.
22. Okay. Yeah, you've got some logs, and are you specifically looking for a log about the incident that happened here?
I mean, I assume I'm just looking for the most recent log.
Okay. The most recent log seems to be an automatic voice activity recording, and it's serious. Someone got mauled by something. They were bleeding heavily. They were one of like 3 or 4 people who did, and a couple of them didn't make it. They were sent to a different form of stasis that doesn't keep things alive, just maintains them in stasis. One of them was seriously injured, but able to live through it. And shortly thereafter, the conversation turns to, well, only thing we can do is find a place to survive until someone gets here to help us. All of this is because Bessie is translating. You do not understand a single word natively.
Grant, question for you.
Yes.
Has Kai heard any of the recordings that were not translated?
I'm gonna say you probably did. The majority of them were in the language of the dominant species, it seems, of the coalition, the 3-legged beings.
Not in the. Have I heard any from this planet's?
Yeah, I mean, Leaf, were you transmitting this log, or were you just gathering information?
I am
You didn't have to be
recording and
transmitting,
relaying.
Okay.
I'm recording and then just like describing relaying the highlights, the important details.
Okay, so I still haven't heard what they speak.
Yeah.
Also,
haven't
Leaf
necessarily
memorizes the word for emergency.
emergency. Okay. Yeah,
And help.
you memorize both of those words with Bessie's help. They're a little more complicated than you think, but you have your external speaker system on standby. All right, and Doc, you're at this door. You managed to winch it open, and it opens into where to go. Hang on, I should have had this ready. Okay. It opens into a room with row after row of what look like work tables and tool cases. It looks like it was last used a very long time ago. There's a decent amount of what looks like silt built up on all of the surfaces, and it was left in a hurry. There are tools and components and disassembled bits and pieces of stuff kind of just all over the place. It looks like essentially a workshop. There is also at its far end a set of doors that take up the entire wall.
All right. Well, I'm going to search the room, see if there's anything interesting in here.
All right. Go ahead and roll a search check for me.
I rolled a 19 plus 4.
Ooh.
Nice. All right. Well, you find the following. You find what looks like a self-contained hydraulic ram. It's really friggin' heavy, but it's got its own compressor in it by the looks of things, and all you have to do is set it up, and you can push your way through something forcibly if you need to. You also find a pack of what seem to be emergency flares of some kind. They look very similar to the sort of stuff that you're used to. However, just a quick scan without using your bioscan mode on your scanner kind of gives you an idea that they're made of something that you've never seen before, or it's maybe so dense that it just represents something else.
All right, well, I'll grab the flares and let them know about the hydraulic ram, transmit my image and just tell the other folks about this hydraulic ram.
Sounds good. You also
Think
find
of the buttons you could push with that thing.
Think of how hard you could push them.
multiple tons
If
of
there
force.
if there are buttons that don't want to be pushed, you can push them anyway.
Natural 20 on any strength check to push a button. You also find a couple of spare parts just lying around that might be interesting from a scientific perspective. You recognize what looks like, in theory, a quantum processor. You've just never seen one this small. It's the size of maybe a small coin, and it's still in its packaging, so it's still worthy of study if you wanted to check that out.
Yeah, I'll grab that.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this particular room. There is some sort of room beyond it. You're not entirely sure, but that's
I'm
what
gonna
you
go
found so
through
far.
there and check out the doors through this room.
Okay, it's going to take you a lot longer to open these. Probably, yeah. These are really big and heavy.
Kai comes over the intercom and is like, "Are you guys coming?
I'm on my way.
Don't want to zombie someone."
All right. Well, no, then I will continue. Or I'll head out towards Kai.
We can
Okay.
do some more. I'm all for treasure hunting. I feel like we should wake somebody up and make sure that me and Leaf don't die first.
Speaking of which,
Oh,
How
it hasn't
long
been
has
that
it been?
long.
no, it hasn't. It's been about. I will say that with all of this exploring, it's probably been about an hour and a half.
How long has it been total since we entered the first facility?
Oh, you're making me do math now. 3, 4. It's been almost 6 hours.
I was
It's
just gonna say,
It's
it seems
coming
like
up
it
on.
should be 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's coming up on 6 hours, which also means you're going to need to recharge your suits pretty soon here.
Okay.
Is there any facility? I mean, have we seen anything that looks like a spacesuit?
Not in this particular facility yet. It's entirely possible that you could jury rig something, but with the power situation as it is, it might not be recommended.
Leaf is
Okay.
also going to reapply his inertial armor.
Okay. You reapply your inertial armor just in case. All right. So you all reconvene in the stasis bay, and Leaf and Doc, you both just see this room bright, glowing. It's well lit. It's running properly, and there seem to be about 200, 250 of these pods operational right now.
It looks like the Matrix, right? It's wild.
Now we're still in the water section, right? So like there was an
Yeah.
air section and a water section.
You've been in the water section ever since you left that conference room.
Right. Okay. So can I check the console? And is this just for controlling or I'll ask Kai, have you noticed, is this console just for controlling the stasis pods, or can we pull up a schematic of the facility?
I was only looking at the stasis pod stuff, but
I just had a thought
okay.
that affects whether we should thaw anybody or not. We're in self-contained suits, but life support is turned off to this facility right now. The water's not oxygenated. If we thaw someone, they're going to suffocate immediately.
Oh. Do we have a fourth suit on the ship? I can't remember.
There's no fourth seat, but there's space for another person.
Suit,
Potentially.
I mean.
Not one that's going to
suit.
fit one of these people, right?
Mm-mm. Yeah, and your suits. I mean, you would know this from the basic xenology and xenobiology. You would be aware of and would have been trained with. Generally, each species, even each genetic variation of humanity, you have different requirements for your spacesuits. An heirloom human has a different respiration than, say, an elf or a an aquatic human like the Doc. All of your suits are tuned specifically to you.
I mean,
And
is
it gets-
there
I thought we.
anatomical information on these consoles? I mean, have I been able to?
Wait, I thought we saw a room. One of the dorm rooms had some stuff in it.
The dorm rooms had some sanitation equipment, but nothing like a full-on spacesuit or EVA system.
Grant, were you gonna let us just like reanimate someone just so they would die in front of our eyes?
You haven't. I mean, no one's checked to see if life support is on in this specific room.
Okay, that's what I want. Yeah. So I was gonna say, how could it not be on in here if they like intended for someone to eventually like thaw them, right?
You can run a check.
I would love to.
Roll computer use.
17.
You run a basic diagnostic on the life support systems in this room, and they're running properly. Life support to the pods is running perfectly, and there is water circulation in this room itself.
Cool. We just can't. Okay, so I relay that, and I'm like, we just can't like leave the room with them. So I'm gonna go close the door. I close the door.
Well, can we find? I mean, we should. I think we should find somebody who's either a doctor or some kind of who's in charge.
Yeah.
Of this facility. I mean, we should see if we
doctor.
can find them by profession or rank or something, and see if we can because we need help, and so we need to find somebody who knows what's going on.
Works for me.
What about the person who got mauled and survived? Or one of the doctors who treated them?
Maybe the second one.
I mean, it's pretty trivial. You're able to run
search
just
mauled patient.
No. You're able to search the names of the doctors on staff that you had. A couple of them are really technically like field medics or something like that. There is one actual doctor among them, though. They're there. They're still in stasis. You can wake them up if you want to.
Let's do it.
How
The
long would
smirk
it
on
take?
your face. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
How long would it take to thaw them?
It says the process takes about 10 minutes.
Sick. That's really fast.
Is there anything else that we want to do before we have an alien life that we have to like protect?
Nope.
I mean, I don't think we have a choice. I mean, we could check out the rest of the facility, but at this point, I mean,
We can
we're
still
running
check
of
out the
time.
rest of the facility when
Right.
they're
But
alive. So
Well, and once they're animated, and then hopefully they will have access to the computer systems.
I'm gonna relay information back up to the ship that there are survivors here.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Why don't we let Endurance know what's going on?
I'm gonna let them know what we found.
I'm gonna
Okay.
start this process. I think.
Okay. You let Endurance know what's going on. They're taking a little bit to process this on their end. Meanwhile, Kai is just tapping all sorts of buttons, activating the reanimation process. Is anyone going to help her with this?
Please
Or-
assist me. I don't know what I'm doing. I would like
Yes.
assistance from both of you.
Leaf doesn't want anyone to die, so yes.
Yeah, our lovely god, as you know,
I rolled a 17 for computer use check, so
suggested
Actually,
that I need both of you.
okay. Actually, Doc, I was going to have you roll a treat injury check for me. And
Okay.
Kai and Leaf, I'm going to have you both roll computer use.
Okay, I just rolled
well,
mine.
my tree injury is a 15, but I have like an 11 modifier, I think. Treat injury, yeah, 11 modifier. So
Okay.
I
So
got a
26 for
19.
that. 19?
That's including the +8. That is a 12.
Okay. Let's
We're
put
gonna
it this
zombie him.
way. You don't zombie the character. You start the reanimation process, and Doc, you notice something's about to go haywire multiple times, and with your medical knowledge, you just kind of swoop in and press a couple of buttons over their shoulder to stop them from killing this person.
Great.
It takes a little bit longer than normal because of these hitches, It takes actually more like 15 minutes for you to fully thaw this person out.
We have a slow microwave. Not as high wattage.
Yeah, and saying thaw, that doesn't really count because it's a different type of stasis. But, after 15 minutes, the tower of pods shifts, rotates, and an arm reaches out from the ceiling, drops down, and brings up one of the pods and leaves it next to you. It flashes. The staticky effect that you've been seeing dissolves completely, and it opens. And on the inside is what you could only really describe as from Earth mythology, a merman of sorts. He's got a fish-like tail. He has a torso, 2 arms, a head, what looks like flowing black hair that has been tied up at some point,
Chester.
And gills along the side of his neck. And he gulps a couple of mouthfuls of water, looks around, and just starts asking questions, which Bessie begins translating to, who are you? What are you doing here? Please tell me you found a cure.
Good morning.
I think this might be a good place for us to pause for today because I have to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have answers to all those questions.
Good suspense.
We're just gonna wait several weeks to answer them for you.
Oh man, that's torture.
The suspense.
That's 2 weeks of torture.
Yeah.
All while there are funny noises happening somewhere in the depths behind you.
All right. Great. Well, thank you so much, Grant, for a lovely continuation of our adventure. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Matthew and Kyle, for hanging out and playing. This was super fun. As far as next week goes, we will be back on Monday with some more Airport for Aliens, currently run by dogs. I'll finish that game eventually. It's very fun. It's very cute. You should come hang out. On Wednesday, we'll be back with some more astronomy news. And then on Friday, we are actually going to be taking the week off next week because we've got some scheduling conflicts. We've been trying to work through them, but this is going to be the week that we have to take off. So we will actually be back on let me check the calendar, the 17th. We'll be back on the 17th for more adventuring. Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, be there. Don't be be there or be square. And if you guys want to watch our archive streams, like I said, there was a really fun stream last week where we delved into our backstories individually that we are not allowed to watch individually because secrets. And I'm so curious, so watch it vicariously for me. But that will be on YouTube within the day, and it's also on Twitch. Also, all of our old episodes are on YouTube at the Active Galactic channel that is linked in the About page. Please follow if you haven't yet. Please subscribe if you are so inclined. And I did promise somebody that if Mautator is still on, which it looks like they are, we would raid them. I think it was Smolsnick. Yes.
Yes.
Redeemed that. So I will set that up. But do you guys have any other things to say before we peace out?
The only thing I was going to remind people of is we'll be back with live sessions with Chris on the 22nd.
Yes.
So it's going to be a few more weeks, but then live sessions will return. I think the next one, because the last one was on Twitch, so the next one will be on YouTube.
Cool.
We're going to have to find a big button for Leaf to push.
We are.
Oh, it'll happen. Don't worry.
Excellent. Take care, everyone.
All right. I'm going to start this raid. Send y'all over.
Have a good weekend, everyone. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.